There has never been a time within the history of this world where there are too many excess, irrelevant, redundant, and gratuitous elements that penetrates the wall of our mental bandwidth every day, corrupts its tranquility, and encapsulates it within a degenerative roadmap than the times of the modern life that we are currently living in. So much so that we eventually become overwhelmed, inhabited, and controlled by their simple, effortless, and painless properties, to the point where we start to compromise, forget, and even abandon both our desires and conquests to act, grow, achieve, and build a better life for ourselves. Social media stories, video games, pornography, depressing music, streaming services, people's shallow opinions and conducts, random events and noises. The seemingly minuscule and harmless effects of these modern distractions constantly seduce us into their world because of our aimlessness and rudderlessness, and attempt to drift us off into a life of consumption through sacrificing our potential by feeding us irrelevancies coated with inapplicability. I guess that's why the men back in the days of good old-fashioned letters and expensive gramophones get to get things done and accomplish more out of life than the modern men of today, due to less access, forms, and quantities of irrelevancies disturbing their daily lives. In simpler words, your lack of solid and committed directions in life is the sole reason why you gave too much fucks about too much things that are completely unnecessary and insignificant. Such as checking what people are up to on social media, jerking off to porn and then proceeding to play video games, minding and involving yourself in other people's business, paying too much attention to minuscule unfortunate events, and so much more. Without a clear visual trajectory of where you want your life to go every single step of the way and every single moment along the way, you will be easily disturbed and eventually consumed by all forms of obstructions of the modern world. We humans naturally pursue growth and novelty because we instinctually want to achieve a thoroughly complete sense of comprehension and mastery of this ever so fast evolving world. And if we stopped growing or evolving alongside it, we will abolish our chance of surviving and thriving in it. Just like an animal that has to adapt to its surrounding habitat, it has to evolve or die. That is why we always need directions in life to go and keep going constantly all the time, and if we don't have or lacking any, we will naturally march towards whatever it is in front of us with the least resistance, even if they barely or do not contribute to our need for growth. At least we are experiencing some form of sensation to occupy our cravings for novelty. But we all know without resistance there will be no growth, only stagnation and eventually regression. So the solution is quite simple, gentlemen, and it is everything to do with priorities. And not just any priorities, but devoted priorities. Priorities that are personally meaningful, properly significant, mentally captivating, circumstantially constructive or cultivating, and both cognitively and emotionally immersive. You have to live by these priorities day after day, routinely and eventually habitually. These priorities are those that have rippling effects cognitively well after you are done with them for the day. Priorities that incentivize you to explore much further and deeper within their space to the point where they fill out your mental bandwidth completely day after day, in such a manner that barely or even no other forms of entity could divert your attention and captivation. In fact, it would irritate and aggravate you when irrelevant things are thrown your way. I'll give you my own example. I treat fitness very seriously. It has become like a religious ritual for me, and I'm sure many of you gentlemen also treat fitness the same way. Every time I work out, I'm in the zone. No other thoughts of anything but to perform and complete the session, to the point where I could conduct further research on information and contents relating to fitness to further cultivate my understanding on the endeavor for hours on end, even long after I had finished my session for the day. Now, at one point last year, me and me mate went to the gym together as he never worked out before in his life, and asked me to come and show him the nuts and bolts of things. And during our rest period, as I was recovering and catching my breath for the next set of heavy squats, he suddenly came up to me and said, "Yo mate, haven't you heard? There's a big container truck that fell over sideways in front of your complex. That's horrible, dude. It was carrying a truckload of fruits and vegetables. Now they're all complete wastes. It's so sad, bro." And I didn't answer him back. All I did was give him a disappointed look because all I can think of in my mind was, "Are you serious, mate? Don't you have time to worry about more personally important stuff than some clumsy or unfortunate event?" And I could see the look on his surprised and slightly disgusted face and what he's thinking. How could you be so cold? Don't you know the driver has families and he might not get to see his wife and kids again? I don't give a fuck about him, mate. I don't know the guy, nor does he have anything to do with my life or me and his. He got in an accident. Tough luck. That's his problem to solve, not mine. Stop pretending like you care about him because it's the politically correct answer to say. If you really do genuinely care about the driver, do something about it. Visit him in hospital or donate some money to his family instead of feeling sorry for the guy and trying to seek attention or clout for bringing up an unfortunate event. Selfish? Egocentric? Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much. What do you think the words "I don't give a fuck" means? If people have a problem when you don't give a fuck, just tell them to fuck off and mind their own business. Oh yeah, they can't because they have none. That's why they pay attention to needless and irrelevant things. Anyways, these priorities can literally be anything realistically and circumstantially progressive that you can thoroughly put your mind into. Things as simple as fitness, cooking, and meditation, but also can be as complicated as engineering, design, and composing. It's all your own choice, gentlemen, and it's only you that can clarify what you want and willing to immerse yourselves in. Now, for a lot of people, identifying these priorities can be relatively easy, but for some whose minds have been engulfed by so many unnecessary and irrelevant things that disturbs their tranquility and composure to the point where they start to jeopardize or damage their mental health, they have to completely disengage, detox, and retreat. When you are in moments of utter perplexity, overwhelmed, and bewilderment, it's time to totally remove or discard everything and go into isolation for a while, where you can collect your own thoughts and definitively determine the things that you really want out of your own life and plan out the ways to get there eventually, so that when you come out of isolation, you already possess the mental clarity and the visceral yearning to start taking the actions necessary. If you can live your life daily with your set of determined intentions in every step that you take and in every endeavor that you do, you would most likely, maybe indefinitely, become unreactive towards things and circumstances that are not related nor have anything to do with your resolution towards your desired life. To not give a fuck is as simple as asking yourself, are all the things that I'm thinking, doing, paying attention to, and spending time on will contribute or benefit significantly to my own personal development that will eventually make my circumstances in life better? If yes, keep doing them. If not, throw them away, forget about them, and move on to the next. That's literally it. However, never think of not giving a fuck as an instant hack or a quick fix, because it isn't. Especially when you are already significantly habituated by a lot of stagnant and degrading things in your daily lives. Just like any mindset shift process, it requires complete realization, determined intention, and daily practice that will eventually be instilled as a habitual response through self-cognitive and behavioral conditioning. Thank you for watching.